Hey guys, welcome to this episode of the Passionate Few channel. It's your host, Omar here, and today I'm going to be going over some of the common denominators I've learned from interviewing some of the most amazing people on the planet who built their brand, and how, if you want to build your confidence, be more powerful, be more profitable on podcasts or YouTube or just on camera in general. I recommend interviews, but even if it's just on camera in general, to share what it is you want to with the world, whether it's products, services, your story, you'll want to stay tuned and pay attention to this to the very end, because I promise you, these common denominators are something I've learned being in the trenches, going from interviewing homeless people to billionaires. I've seen it through my own eyeballs, and I've seen what doesn't work for interviews, and I've seen what does to generate brand awareness, top of mind awareness, making money, growing a raving fan base, all the things that are important. So, hope you enjoy.
Representing the Passionate Few podcast, Omar, the podcast Rockstar, Elattar.
Omar, it's Tony Robbins. Listen, obvious you're doing good for others as well, brother.
All right, guys, so number one is how to give a more powerful interview. We're gonna go over profitable, we're gonna go after confident, okay? Now you might be saying to yourself, well, Omar, why would I need to be more powerful, more profitable, more confident on video? Now, chances are, if you've ever done video, you probably know that not all video is equal, right? So when I say powerful, one thing I always recommend people do is realize that if you want to hook audiences, you have to come from a place of an audience saying, me too, and not so what. See, anytime someone watches this video, or your video for that matter, they go, okay, like this is cool, but they're either thinking one of two things. Again, all people who consume content, again, I repeat, write this down. All people who consume content, yours, mine, or otherwise, are asking themselves, is this something that I can relate to too, or does this not matter, right? In short, me too, or so what? And so the number one way to become powerful as a communicator is to get people to say, me too. You know, this is why you'll often hear stories about people being in the trenches or being lost or broke or depressed. And I know for me, one of the ways that I was able to reach millions of people was sharing my story about how a breakup and being $30,000 in debt and lost and broke and depressed ended up changing my life, because in that rock bottom moment, I turned my pain into power and took action, right? And although the pain of that situation has long since left me and I moved on, years ago from that, the story still resonates. It's why people, when you think about prophets throughout history, usually those stories become prophesized, right? When you think about, entrepreneurs you look up to, or maybe in your own life, there's been signature stories here and there that kind of become your anchor, your lineage of time, your special gift, your special story, your special turning point or moment or whatever it is. The more you can associate to those moments, those vulnerable moments, the more you're gonna get an audience to say, me too, and not so what, right? So that's something to keep in mind. If you wanna be powerful, you have to start in here. People have to feel your communication inside. So you want people to say, me too. The second part is you have to sound congruent, right? People who are powerful are congruent. What do I mean by that? Well, how many of us have seen videos with people talking or sharing something, but we felt like, the words don't match the energy, right? Or maybe something about this feels a little bit uncertain, right? But when you think about people who are confident, who are certain about what they're doing, there's a certain level of power and energy there that'll transcend your doubt. And that's when something will hook you. My hope here today is that you sense some congruence in me and sharing this message with you, right? Kind of on some inception stuff. And so if you want to be more powerful, you got to get people to think me too, not from a manipulative place, not from trying to take advantage of people, but from a genuine place of showing people, hey, I'm just like you. I'm just like you, right? I have the same, 10 fingers and 2 eyes and same skin, flesh. Like, we're the same. The difference is how we take action on this stuff. The difference is our personal power, okay? Number 2 is profitable, right? And again, I won't name names, but I've interviewed some amazing people and been involved in different partnerships with various people. And I remember times or months we'd do 6 figures plus just from interviews with zero ad spend, just off of interviews, because a lot of people saw, or I guess a lot of people didn't know this, but a lot of people would see interviews and not know that interviews kind of act like webinars. If you know anything about the online marketing space or digital marketing space, traditional webinar, right, a traditional sales pitch online, educates a potential consumer, educates somebody from your audience, and then at the end of that education, offers them a product or service. Some people have mixed feelings about this. Some people have done phenomenally well with this. A lot of people have been helped by this model. Other people have their opinions on it. Either way, wherever you stand, the model stands the same. And so in a lot of these interviews, I didn't know that I was actually getting the audience to fall in love with the person, the product, the service, and the story. And so the interview kind of worked like a webinar. But instead of me paying for ads, I was actually getting paid YouTube AdSense to promote it. Pretty cool, huh? And the reason that happened is because I figured a way to leverage the attention. It didn't happen naturally. That wasn't my intent. I initially started interviews because I wanted to inspire people. I really didn't think about how to make money. But when I started connecting with people, I realized how to make them profitable, okay? So that is what I want to mention here, partnerships and affiliates, okay? So if you want to be profitable when doing interviews, one thing I highly recommend people do, and this will build your confidence into it too, because when you know you're going into an interview with an outcome, with some sort of objective, you can kind of go into it with a North Star. And if part of it is yet to share your story, but also to offer your product or service, you want to consider making it even more profitable by incentivizing the person who's hosting the platform that you're on. So if you're on a podcast, if you're on a YouTube show, if you're going to be on a platform anyways, why not offer the person hosting you, instead of just your time in the video, why not offer them to potentially split on a 20% or 30% or 40% or 50% or whatever makes financial sense for you, and partner with them just to make it that much more profitable and incentivize the person hosting you, right? So that's a cool ethical way to do it. Another way to be profitable is to actually have CTAs, right? CTAs, for anybody in business online knows, is calls to action, okay? So if you're gonna be doing interviews and you're gonna be on platforms and you wanna come across as powerful because you're sharing your story, you also wanna be congruent in what you're doing, you wanna feel great about what you're doing on these interviews, right? You wanna get into your flow state because you're probably gonna do a lot of these. You wanna make sure you have things lined up, but if you build all this momentum and you don't have a call to action, it's kind of like riding a wave only to crash before you get to ride it, right? And so what happens is if you don't tell people what to do, they won't do it, right? In fact, most people, even if you tell them what to do, don't do it. If I say, don't look behind you, what's the first thing you want to do, right? And so maybe you're not as crazy as me and would want to turn around, but the bottom line is the same, is you have to tell people to stimulate them in action, right? You ask people a question, they subconsciously have to respond to it, right? If I was to ask you right now, hey, what color are your socks? Right? You may not answer me, but I guarantee you, beyond a shadow of a doubt, you just went in your head and asked yourself, right? And so if you want to command people's attention, you have to do calls to action that stimulate them from the inside out. The way we do that, like I said, is to offer them some sort of, you say, well, what's a good call to action? This could be a phone number into an SMS platform. This could be an email. This could be a PDF or a free ebook you give away or a free product or a place to order, right? Maybe it's a website. Maybe it's your Instagram handle, right? Maybe it's some other social media platform. Whatever it is, doesn't matter, but you have to pick one, right? Otherwise, you're gonna limit the potential of that traffic and those calls to action leading to potential sales while you're building value for the audience, okay? And the last thing, and probably the reason that a lot of you were inspired to click on this video, hopefully so, is how to become more confident. Now, the number one thing I recommend people to do to become more confident on camera, the number one thing I always tell people who are kind of nervous about being interviewed or maybe sharing their stories or their gifts or maybe finding their voice or they think they don't look good on camera, right? Or any of those sorts of doubts far and wide that I'm sure we've all thought of. Anytime that comes to mind, here's the number one thing I tell people to do. That is, if you want to build your confidence, focus more on what you're giving than what you're getting, okay? This is something I learned in acting school early on. They said, anytime you're feeling nerves, it's because you're being selfish. Anytime you're nervous or anxious, that's because you're thinking about me, right? How do I look? How do I sound? The best communicators in the world don't really care about how they look, right? Think about some of the artists, right? Some of the world's greatest artists, right? A lot of them can be some of the most eccentric people. I don't think it's because they aim to, and I'm not going to get into semantic argument about kind of artists and why a lot of them kind of have that freedom. My point here is that if you have some sort of confidence, some sort of unique thing to you, some sort of gift, some sort of way to express yourself, that's going to stick with people, right? That's going to stick with people who want to learn about you. And so if you can focus more on what you're giving than what you're getting, that's going to allow you to be present in an interview. It's going to allow you to not so much be thinking about how do I look or how do I sound and kind of rid that anxiety. Again, for me early on, I got that advice in acting school. And I remember going from having nerves in my stomach to not really getting that much anxiety or worry or whatever on camera at all, because I remember it's more about the energy that I'm giving. And so I just consciously evaluate how good I did based on the energy I'm giving, not on the mechanisms of how I sound or the mechanics of how I looked or how this X, Y, Z, right? You kind of learn to be flexible. And so I just really want to encourage you guys, You know, you could build confidence the other way by being perfect all the time and sounding perfect and looking perfect and wearing the perfect thing and saying the perfect thing. But the reality is, in our human nature, we're imperfect. And so even with the perfect system, we're imperfect beings. And so you got to define the game in a winnable way. If you want to become more confident, you can't define it as being perfect, but you can define it as being flexible. You can define it as having an outcome. You can define it about being intentional, about being powerful, so you get people to say, me too, and not so what, when you're sharing your story. You got to be congruent in what you're saying and really mean it, really be sincere, really be connected to what it is you're sharing, right? Those primary outcomes that I recommend you get associated to share, or stories or things that you really believe in, because people are going to feel that. They're not going to remember your words. People will always remember how you made them feel, right? And if you can send that feeling into somebody's soul, trust me, if you want to do that, it's a lot easier if you feel it in yours. Remember, you cannot transfer that which you're not experiencing. If you want to be profitable with it, like I said, you want to be intentional about the partnerships and affiliates. You want to have those call to actions. But if you're not confident about what you're doing, about what you're delivering, and you're so in your head about saying the right thing, trust me, you're going to fall apart in no time. I've sat down with some of the best of the best, and to be honest, if you watch those interviews, they don't even look like they're selling all that much. They don't look like they're stressing out and freaking out and worried about how they sound. On the contrary, we've had many interviews. I remember with Grant and Ed Milet, Grant Cardone and Ed Milet, sat down with both of them, and I believe one of them kicked over a wine glass and spilled a bottle of wine, and all the glass went shattering, and people commented and loved that, right? And so I know that's an extreme example, but the reality is those vulnerable moments, allowing for those things to happen, will actually build your confidence, because you're focused more on what you're giving, more on what you're saying, more on who you're being, and not worrying so much about how you look or how you sound or whatever. The mechanics of that will always be there. So anyways, guys, I just want to share these quick little tips with you. I know you probably thought I was going to tell you to, try to go B, right? Or play with your voice or sound or whatever it is to get good on podcasts. But I promise you, implement these 3 things, you'll be much more powerful, much more profitable, and much more confident on camera, because you'll be relaxed, you'll be having fun, and you'll also be connecting with people in a genuine way to build your own raving fan base, both short and long term. So anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to smash that subscribe button, like this, thumbs up, share it with a friend, comment below any questions you want me to answer, and I'll see you guys in the next inspiring video. And also, one more thing. If you saw this and you're like, man, I want to give more powerful, confident interviews, I want to do this, I actually partnered with an agency, and we're helping people. If you check out the description below right now, there's a short little questionnaire that kind of asks a couple questions about you, your business, where you're at, and why you'd like to get on podcasts, why you'd like to be more confident, why you'd like to share your story, maybe some of the outcomes you'd like to accomplish in the next year or 2 and beyond with your personal brand, your products and business online. And maybe you realize, like, man, okay, I like this video, I watched this video, I want to binge watch more of these videos, right? Because I'm going to be doing a bunch of them. And you want to partner with us? All you got to do is fill out the description below in that questionnaire. There's a link on it. You fill those out, and our team will get back to you within 24 to 48 hours. So that's it. Check it out, and I look forward to sharing more information with you soon and potentially collaborating with you on a 12-week podcast media tour, where you can be interviewed on up to 10 different podcasts back to back to back. So if you want to learn how to do that, again, in the description below. Until next time, live strong, live with passion, and I'll see you in the next
Thank you so much for enjoying this video, and if you found this content valuable, uplifting, and inspiring to take your life and your business to the next level, then I have some exciting news for you. Because the Passionate Few Academy officially launched our brand new on-demand training that you can access absolutely free at www.tpfacademy.com. Right there, you'll learn the #1 way to grow your personal brand or business brand online fast. The same way I've learned from interviewing some of the most successful people on the planet right here on the show who've done exactly that. So again, don't forget to check it out, www.tpfacademy.com. I promise you, you'll be blown away. And also, don't forget, there's 3 ways you can connect with me further. #1, you can text me absolutely free at the number on the screen right now and send me your most pressing life, business, or branding question, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. #2, if you'd like to be interviewed on the show, you can actually apply right now in the description below and apply to share your incredible story, brand, or business right here with an audience of potentially millions of people, the same way we've helped experts, entrepreneurs, and authors just like you. And don't forget, that opportunity comes with the ability to partner with us and help feed 1 million people through our partnership with Feeding America. Again, you can click the link in the description below titled Interview Application to find out more. And last but not least, #3, if you'd like to get consulting from our team and work with you to help you grow your personal brand or business brand, no matter what industry you're in, we can do that by simply filling out the questionnaire in the description below titled Consulting Application. And if our team thinks that you'd be a great fit, Who knows, you may just be invited to work with us to help you take your business to the next level. All right, that's it. Thank you so much for enjoying this video. Make sure to smash that subscribe button, turn on post notifications so you never miss an episode. And until next time, live strong, live with passion, and I'll see you in the next inspiring video.